This week's episode of Complex is all about resilience, and I'm talking to Dr. Sula Wingason. And I feel like our relationship with that word has changed, certainly over the 20 or so years that I've been practicing. So I talk about resilience quite a lot, both neurological resilience and psychological resilience. So in my book Unprocessed, I talk about building literally the kind of neurological resilience, that foundation of mental health and well-being, building extra capacity, what we call cognitive reserve, into a child's brain through nutrition and environmental stimulus, and how that links to things like IQ later on in life. And in How to Build a Healthy Brain, I talk about the psychological process called stress inoculation, which is kind of building up the capacity to deal with stressful events. So allowing children to fall out and make up with their friends by themselves. And so I think about resilience in those kinds of ways, but I also give a lot of talks. And I was giving a talk to a big American brand, and we were having a prep call, and we go through the kinds of things that they need. And I always try to tailor my talks and make them really specific and helpful to that particular population, that group. You know, what does your team really struggle with psychologically? How can I support them? Where can I be most useful? And so we were having this prep call. And I said, is there anything that you don't want me to talk about? Are there any kind of competing brands, that kind of thing? And they said, well, actually, we have a policy here where we don't use the word resilience. So if you could avoid that word, that would be great. And I was like, okay, I can use other words. But it was really interesting. And I think the fear was that the word resilience has kind of been hijacked by the kind of self-determination, fully independent, hyper-independent kind of mindset. And the risk from that perspective is that if you struggle psychologically, if you become mentally unwell, then it's a personal moral failing. And that's the implication, that you've failed to be sufficiently resilient in order to withstand whatever is going on in your life or in the world around you. And I think that's a bit of a shame, because obviously I don't see the word resilient like that. I can certainly understand the risk and the concern, but the way I think about it is like building the foundations of a house. So, you want to build a strong foundation to give your house the best chance of withstanding the storms that come. It doesn't mean that your house is going to be completely impervious, and it doesn't mean that there won't be wear and tear across the years, but it's about giving you the very best chance. But maybe I'm out of touch and I don't know what I'm talking about anymore. Tell me what you think. Is resilience a dirty word?